Welcome everyone and thank you for joining us today as we dive deep into one of the most surprising and fascinating topics in the world of rare coins, a subject that continues to capture the imagination of collectors, enthusiasts, and anyone curious about how something as small and ordinary as a 1-cent coin can transform into a multimillion-dollar treasure, and today's focus is on the remarkable 1985 Lincoln cent, a coin that in extremely rare cases is said to have reached an unbelievable value of $9 million because of extraordinary errors, highly sought-after mistakes and unusual minting anomalies that make it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery for anyone lucky enough to find one, and as we explore this story we will walk through every detail surrounding the year, the mint, the design, the potential variations, the incredible market interest and how certain possibilities combine to create the perfect environment for a coin that normally exists by the billions to suddenly stand out as a unique piece worthy of enormous attention and extraordinary value. So imagine starting with the basics as millions of 1985 pennies rolled out of the Denver Mint, struck in a copper-plated zinc composition introduced in 1982, where each coin was intended to look uniform with the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial design on the reverse. And yet within this massive production run, all it takes is one moment of mechanical failure, one slip in preparation, one misalignment, one foreign fragment, one die deterioration mark or even one experimental planchet slipping into the presses to create something so unusual that it instantly becomes a numismatic legend, and when collectors talk about a $9 million 1985 penny they are referring to the idea that a coin with a never-before-seen combination of errors, stunning visual anomalies, extreme rarity and completely unrepeatable circumstances could theoretically command such a staggering price at auction because rarity, uniqueness and condition have always been the driving forces behind the highest-priced coins in history, so the 1985 1 cent becomes a powerful symbol of possibility, reminding collectors that even the most common coins hold the potential to hide an extraordinary secret. And the first major factor contributing to extreme value is the presence of dramatic mint errors which can include off-center strikes where the design is pushed far from its intended position, broad strikes where the collar fails and the coin expands unnaturally, and doubled dies where parts of the design appear duplicated or shadowed due to a mistake during die creation, and in the case of the 1985 cent these types of errors are already collectible, but when combined into a single coin or heightened to extreme visual impact they can dramatically raise the value. And then there are wrong planchet errors which occur when a cent is accidentally struck on metal intended for another denomination, creating a coin that weighs differently, rings differently, looks slightly off in color and becomes instantly rare, and although the official record suggests strict consistency at the Denver Mint during the 1980s, the possibility of a stray planchet from a dime or foreign coin slipping through can never be entirely ruled out, making such a discovery one of the most valuable forms of error known in the hobby. And then another fascinating possibility is the appearance of transitional errors, where a coin might have been struck using a leftover die pair intended for a previous design revision or an experimental die created during testing, and although extremely unlikely this type of anomaly is precisely what fuels numismatic excitement because collectors understand that the minting process, especially in the 1980s, while highly controlled, was not completely immune to these rare and unpredictable moments, and if a 1985 penny were to show any such characteristics it would immediately attract enormous market attention, and another factor that elevates value is die deterioration and die polishing errors, where overused dies create unusual texture, lines, distortions, or missing design elements, and while these normally appear as minor defects found in circulation, an extreme example where entire features are distorted or missing could transform the coin into something so rare that only one or two examples exist, and in numismatics rarity is everything because collectors compete fiercely for items no one else can own, and when scarcity reaches the point of a unique specimen the price can skyrocket into millions especially if the coin is authenticated and graded at a high level. And speaking of condition, mint state preservation is another essential piece of the puzzle because a 1985 penny displaying a major error but also surviving without scratches, wear or environmental damage becomes exponentially more valuable, which is why the few high-grade specimens of rare error coins have shattered auction records, and even though most pennies circulate heavily making mint state finds rare in general the existence of a mint state 1985 error coin would be extraordinary, pushing its value far beyond expectations, and then we must consider the human element because the market for rare coins thrives on stories, discoveries, drama, and the thrill of finding something previously unknown, and when a coin gains a reputation as a multi-million-dollar item, its fame grows, attracting new collectors, investors, and curious observers, which further increases its perceived value because the rare coin market is driven not only by physical flaws but by historical narrative, emotional appeal, and competitive bidding, all of which can transform a rare piece into a legendary one, and the 1985 penny becomes even more intriguing when we consider the massive number of people who handle pennies daily without realizing the potential treasure sitting unnoticed in their change, and this accessibility fuels even greater excitement because unlike rare gold coins, pattern designs or limited mintage issues, the humble penny is something everyone can find, making it the ultimate symbol of unexpected wealth, and when a rumor spreads that a single example could be worth $9 million, people become motivated to search, learn, and hope, expanding the community of collectors and pushing demand even higher. And as we explore the specific types of errors that could make a 1985 penny unbelievably valuable, we encounter the possibility of multi-strike errors where the coin is struck more than once in a misaligned manner, creating overlapping features and warped shapes that are visually stunning and extremely rare. And then there are die cap errors where a coin becomes stuck to the die and continues striking other planchets, gradually stretching and distorting into a dramatic three-dimensional form that can command enormous prices. And another significant possibility is a mated pair error where two separate coins become part of the same minting malfunction and are forever linked, making the discovery of both pieces incredibly valuable, especially if kept together. And although such situations are uncommon, the mere possibility that a 1985 could exhibit such an extraordinary error adds to the excitement surrounding its potential multimillion-dollar value. And we cannot forget about clip errors where parts of the coin's edge are missing due to planchet misfeeds, and while minor clips are collectible but not astronomical in value, a dramatically large or irregular clip combined with another major error could produce a truly exceptional specimen. And then we consider the rare category of experimental plating or incomplete plating errors where parts of the zinc core are exposed in unusual patterns, creating striking visual contrast and potentially making the coin extremely desirable if the anomaly is unique. And the possibility of a 1985 penny struck on a pure copper planchet, which should not exist since copper cents ended in 1982, would be one of the most dramatic and valuable errors of all, because such a coin would immediately be considered a rare transitional mistake and likely become one of the most famous numismatic finds in history. And if authenticated, it could indeed reach extremely high auction values because collectors place tremendous value on coins that break historical rules or appear to defy the mint's established procedures, and the 1985 penny's standard composition makes such a discovery unlikely but not impossible, since history has proven that unexpected transitional planchets occasionally appear years after official changes, making the idea even more enticing to collectors. And then we explore the idea of foreign planchet errors where a penny is accidentally struck onto metal intended for coins from another country, a phenomenon that has occurred in multiple years at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints due to international coin production contracts, and the discovery of a 1985 penny struck on a thinner, thicker, lighter or heavier foreign planchet would instantly raise eyebrows and potentially make it worth a fortune, especially if the error produced clear differences in weight, diameter, or metallic composition, because such anomalies are extremely rare and command extraordinary prices among collectors who seek something truly different. And as we continue diving into the possibilities, we examine the role of die gouges and die breaks, also known as cut errors, where parts of the die become damaged and create raised or missing sections on the coin's surface. And while small die breaks are common and not particularly valuable, a massive die break that dramatically alters Lincoln's portrait, the lettering, or the memorial design could produce a legendary specimen worth immense sums, especially if it is the only one of its kind. And this opens the door to imagination because the